To them for making this possible, starting this 10 years ago, and realizing that we had to honor these 100 people in an incredible way. So I want to thank all of them. I'm not sure if any of them came today, but if you're hearing us and you hear me, thank you. Thank you for being a part of this. We all have the same mission, and that is to honor our 100 angels. And we're hopefully going to be doing that soon. I am going to introduce, I'd like to introduce Reverend Marie Carpenter. She's going to say a few words for us this morning.
Good afternoon. This is the scripture reading that I'm using is from Joshua. So Joshua called together the 12 men he had appointed from the Israelites, one from each tribe. And he said to them, "Go over before the ark of the Lord, your God, into the middle of the Jordan. Each of you is to take a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of Israelites, to serve as a sign among you. In the future, when your children ask, 'What do these stones mean?' tell them that the flow of the Jordan was cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it crossed the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. These stones are to be a memorial to the people of Israel forever. I have brought with me this day 100 river rocks. They're in this basket, to place at this site in the memory of those who perished 10 years ago. May God grant you the blessing of remembering the light that each light shone. When children ask what this site means, may we have the ability to pass on the memories of the lives lived and the sorrows borne." The word memorial is translated from the Hebrew word zikaron, which means a sign, a symbol, or marker that evokes remembrance. Zikaron is about more than merely recalling historical information from the past. This memorial, or act of remembrance, is about remembering the past in such a way that it impacts our present and even our expectations of the future. Often in our fast-paced world, we can easily forget moments when God has revealed himself, his faithfulness, his will, or his calling to us in a significant manner. It's important for us to make time to establish spiritual markers in our hearts, in our minds, and even more concrete ways, such as today's service and this ground we stand on. So we share today in this memorial service. Let us not only look back and remember, but look forward to breaking ground. Let us pray. Lord, grant us the peace that comes with knowing our loved ones are at rest and that their lives are not lived in vain. As we remember today the events of 10 years ago, may we gain strength to break ground, to memorialize the lives that were lost, and may we always live in the light of God's love. Amen.
Next, we'd like to have Governor Lincoln Chafee come and say a few words for us.
Thank you, Gina. And thank you, Reverend, also for the 100 stones also. Governor DeCherry, good to see you here, sir. Faith representatives here with us this afternoon, and most especially survivors of the station fire and their friends, family, loved ones, first responders. Thank you for having me here today. To those whose lives have been forever changed by what occurred at this place, I know that mere words will be of little comfort to you in the face of such unthinkable loss. I know that even 10 years on, your grief can sometimes feel as fresh as it did the moment you first heard the awful news. Words will not change that. What comfort can be found will come from the warm memories of your loved ones. And that is what today in this lasting memorial are all about. Honoring the memory of your sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, husbands and wives, friends and neighbors. It is up to us, the living, to ensure that their memory lives on. We are here today because we know that, in the words of the poet Thomas Campbell, to live in hearts we leave behind is not to die. We now have a dedicated place, this consecrated place, to preserve their memory so that they can always live on in the hearts they leave behind. This memorial would not have been possible without the hard work and resolve of the members, friends, and supporters and board members of the Station Fire Memorial Foundation, especially Gina Russo, Victoria Egan, Jessica Garvey, Sean Corbett, Robin Petrarca, Lisa Del Sesto, and Kara Kesmarsky. I also want to acknowledge and thank Raymond Villanova and the Villanova family for the donation of this property. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Thank you.
Senator Sheldon Whitehouse was not able to be with us today. We do have a representative from his office here today, and also from Senator Jack Reed, so we thank you all for being here. I'm just going to take a minute to tell you all that we have, as a board, waited for these moments, and 10 years we are finally honored and proud to be a part of this. We have had such incredible people behind us, but all of you supporting us every single year and never giving up on us and the cause. The firefighters, everyone that has come forward to help us, to support us in the last 10 years has been phenomenal. We are blessed. We thank you all, and that is from every one of us, from past board members to the present. We are grateful for all of your support. We have a special gentleman here today, Joe Silva, who's got a special song for us that was written for 97 Angels. Thank you.
So when I wrote this song, it was just in the hours after the fire. Having played here several times myself, I just couldn't imagine that 97 of my rock and roll friends all of a sudden were at God's door, and that's what it's about. And every single time I sing it, I think about all 100 folks that have gone, and also the several hundred that are still affecting physical or emotional effects from the fire. It's called 97 Angels. You know that I believe in ever after. I do believe that you can truly save. There's a point in time when tears return to laughter. It won't be the same to always feel this pain. Not knowing when the sun shines, when your eyes are filled with rain. As I read the names, Lord, help me to explain why there are 97 angels at your door today. Mary was devoted to her children, and Nick wrote the most amazing songs. I read somewhere another was an artist, but how those colors fade. They've all turned to gray, too cloudy to see heaven. But I send my words on faith that's only prayers away, and every prayer prayed asks why there are 98 angels at your door today. I want to thank you for sharing their lifetimes, no matter how short or long they were. Mother, sister, wife, brother, and my father and daughter and son. My friends, give strength until they're seen again. 'Cause nothing is the same. So
as I read the names. Lord, help me to explain, but there are 99 angels at your door today. But there's 100 brand new angels at your door today.
I've heard that song a million times, and it has the same effect every time. So thank you. Thank you for caring. There is someone that I'm going to bring up next who was instrumental at Rhode Island Hospital Lifespan for saving the lives of so many of my friends. He was not my doctor personally, but he has become an incredible friend over the years. His love and support of the burn community and all burn survivors in the state of Rhode Island is by far the best. Dr. David Harrington, if you would come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Gina, and thank you for the Station for Memorial Fund for putting this together. Community, as Gina just mentioned, is strange. We live our lives in a community we think we know, but we don't realize we're part of actually a bigger community. I didn't realize I was part of the Station Fire community until that night, but I became a part of the community. Didn't know anyone who was involved in the fire the night of the fire, but before you know it, I have all these people that are now linked to me. And so we're all part of this thing of a community. And like I said, some communities we think we know we belong to, but then there's communities that we don't think we belong to. And I reflected on this because I was thinking that in a strange way, all the people that came to my burn center and Mass General needed us, needed the burn practitioners to help them in those first hours and first weeks and many months ago. And we do that because we really enjoy helping people. But what I think is really remarkable is that we don't need, you guys need, you needed us, but we need you too, because what happens to us is that we, as practitioners of burns, it's sometimes so much work and so hard a job that we need your stories of hope and perseverance and success success over the years to keep us going. Your stories are inspiring to us, so in a weird way, we need you. And today, sitting here and talking about the survivors, make me believe that it brings me new hope for being able to apply my craft as I go forward. I guess in conclusion though, we're here not just about the survivors and their great stories of success, and we're here to think about the 100 who are not with us here today, and we're thinking about some of the people who are surviving who are not doing quite as well. So our job as a community is not quite done. Our job as a community is to build this memorial and remember the 100, but remember the 25 or maybe the 5 or the 10 who are not doing quite so well and who need our continued help and support. So today is about them as well. So if you get a chance and to lend a helping hand to them, please do, because many people continue to struggle. Thank you for allowing me to speak today, and I'm looking forward to this beautiful memorial to be built. Thank you.
I would be remiss if I didn't say this. Shriners Children's Hospital in Boston saved my life. And one of my angels at Shriners is in this crowd today. She was instrumental in making sure my family and my children were happy and comfortable while they were at Shriners dealing with me and possibly losing me. So my big shout out is to Shriners Children's Hospital in Boston and to Mass General. Thank you. Thank you for caring enough about me and all of my friends to save our lives. It was incredibly important for us to be here, and our mission as survivors and victims' families is to honor our 100, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to stay strong and constantly do that. I promised them a long time ago, 10 years ago, I would never go down quietly. My 100 angels would be remembered, and we're going to do that together. I would like to ask Governor Donald Carcieri to come up and say a few words. I'd be honored if you would.
Okay. Thank you very much, Gina, and it is my honor to be here really today. It's to be amongst the families and friends that lost loved ones in this terrible fire. I have to say, for all of us, sure, being here brings it all back, kind of washes over us. But in thinking about it on the way here, I had sort of three images that are fresh in my mind still today. I can't believe it's 10 years, because it seems like yesterday. You know, the first, and I think Gina and the board, so many, just such a testament, is, you know, the terrible pain, the anguish, the heartbreak that we all felt of so many people that night. It's just one of those things you ask yourself, how could this have happened? You know, why did this happen? Why was my loved one lost or badly injured? Mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, friends, all of them, just with all those questions and hurting and in great pain and suffering. I don't know about you, but I'm sure this brings it all back. It really does. And anger. You know, we all felt angry. How did this happen and why did this happen? But being here today, 10 years later, just those feelings are as vivid as they were that day. And I don't need to tell you all, the pain, the loss never goes away. I was just doing an interview a little earlier, and I can't talk about it very much for very long without getting very emotional still. The other image, the second one that I think is so strong in my mind, sort of what Gina was talking about, is the tremendous outpouring of love, caring, support, generosity that came from everywhere in the entire state. I think about the firefighters, the law enforcement people, the first responders that were all here that night, laboring tirelessly to recover those that had perished in that terrible, awful fire. I can remember as each one of those that was lost came out of here, they're stopping and praying over them. And I just said to myself, how do these men, because I think it was mostly men in that case, do this? But they had a job to do, but it was more than a job, because I think they felt such overwhelming caring for what had happened here and what they needed to do. The medical personnel, David Harrington, all of the David Harringtons, the doctors, the nurses, the staffs at all of the hospitals. I remember at Rhode Island Hospital, they had to set up a temporary burn unit. They weren't used to handling this many people that were badly injured. And as you recall, our hospitals in Rhode Island couldn't handle everybody. And we went into Massachusetts, and Gina was at Shriners. And by the way, I think Shriners had never taken adults before, but responded because of what they knew the need to be. Sue and I visited the hospitals, and primarily not just to visit those that had been injured, but to thank the staff, because as David said it so eloquently, yeah, they had a job to do and they're professionals, but there was more than that. It was more than that for them. They could see the pain, they understood it, and they just wanted to do everything humanly possible to alleviate that. As I think of the clergy, the priests, the ministers, the mental health people, the social service people, both from the state, the federal government, community organizations. I see many here that were there that night. And then for the days and endless nights and days at the Crown Plaza, you know, with the families, trying to do everything they could just to make people comfortable knowing the pain that they were going through. So many families, you know, hurting so badly, and yet so many people that just wanted to do whatever they could. Also, the generosity. It is as if the whole state was hurting for everybody that was affected. And the generosity that came, not just in the caring and the hugs, but also the finances, for the fund that was set up through that generosity to try and meet the needs right after, the immediate needs of the families, some who lost mothers and fathers in that fire. And so many needs there were. But in thinking about it, I was saying to myself, you know, at a time of our state's worst tragedy, in some senses it was our people's finest hour. The third image that I carry with me as I think about it is the overpowering need and sense for everybody, those that were lost and those that were affected, to be remembered and not be forgotten. And I think the lives cut short, the lives that have been so dramatically changed because of the injuries that were sustained that night, altered forever, those can never be forgotten. And so I commend, really, I'm so proud of Gina, the whole board, in their effort. The perseverance, Gina, the dedication, to hang in there, and then finally get this site under their control. So now we can move forward with a proper memorial so that what happened here to all of those families and all those people will never be forgotten in our state's history. So God bless you, Gina. God bless the board. God bless you. And may God speed you in the effort to create what I'm sure is going to be a wonderful and fitting memorial.
Thank you, Governor. You know, we have some parents here that lost their children in the fire, and I would like to invite Sarah to come on up and say a few words about her family. And this is Sarah Mancini.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is indeed a day of remembrance. It's also a day, for me anyway, of hope and a future. You know, I could have written a Bible, as I'm sure all of you could, for the thoughts and feelings that we have today and have lasted us for 10 years. But I tried to put into words just a little bit. I lost my son Keith, who was a bass guitar player, a fathead that night. And, you know, for 10 years I have been coming to the site. I come here because I believe that my son Keith's spirit is here, along with the other 99 who perished. To them it was kind of like Rhode Island's cheers. They met for friendship, music, laughter. It was to be an exciting evening. Keith and the band, Fathead, were playing that night. He had his bass guitar all tuned up, and a big smile on his face. In seconds, The night ended in tragedy. And his smile was gone forever. For 10 years I have gone through every emotion possible. Anger, fear, despair, hate, sorrow, and emptiness. I miss my son. Then something within me changed. I had to turn that all around. I couldn't live with all that bitterness. So I started to look at all the wonderful people that I have met. Governor Kachiri, who opened up all the state resources to aid us. A car dealer who made a key for my son's car because we couldn't find it. A tow truck driver who told me he wouldn't let his dog drive in that car. He wasn't going to let me in it, and he towed it to my home for free. So many to mention: lawyers, funeral homes, cemeteries, memorial family fund, doctors, nurses, police, rescue, and especially the people. I just can't get over the people. So I turn this day into a day of hope. Now that we all have a place to come and be with our loved ones, a beautiful, peaceful place that others will gather. For the survivors, I will keep you in my prayers to the day I die and beyond, and know how hard life can be for you. And Governor Cherry, I'm paraphrasing here from a 10-year ago, little something that you gave out, and has stayed with me. You said to us, you have been given a second chance. Now go out and do something with it. That has stayed with me all these years. My heartfelt thanks to the boards, the beginning board, getting things going, and the new board we have today, for bringing this day to fruition, and for Mr. V, for being so kind to let us use this land over the past 10 years, and now it's ours. Now the hope begins anew. God bless you all, and thank you.
Before we invite our next parents up here to speak, I do want to thank Mr. Villanova, Mr. Raymond Villanova, for trusting us enough. All of our board members, past and present, have worked really hard, and he finally honored us by giving us this land on September 28th of 2012. So we thank him. We don't want him to be forgotten in this day, because he's the reason why we're getting ready to build our memorial. So thank you, Mr. Villanova, and thank you, Kevin. Mr. and Mrs. Moreau, I'd like to ask you to come up and say a few words to your beautiful daughter.
I would like to take a few minutes to tell you about my daughter Lee. Celebrate her life and her gifts. She left this world at 21 years old, just starting her adult life. Wake up. Sorry. She had recently completed her degree requirements for a bachelor's degree in art therapy, graduating with high honors. Although she was never able to attend her graduation ceremony and be able to celebrate her achievement. She worked with young people with disabilities. She worked with the elderly, using her skills in art to let them express and enjoy themselves. When she died, there were many people that came forward to honor her. There were several ceremonies at the places where she worked to pay tribute to her as well. She cared for the people she worked with, and she would fondly tell of the day's events when she came home. She was planning on attending graduate school. Lee was artistic. She loved music. She played piano and organ when she was younger. She enjoyed going to concerts and listened to music daily. She liked earrings, piercings, tattoos. Her motto was "Follow your heart," which she had tattooed in Chinese symbols.
Her next tattoo was to be a lotus flower. Her mother, sisters, and best friends each got one in her honor after her death. She loved her family and her friends. She was a very loyal person. She was not afraid to stand up and let you know where she stood. She would stand up for her friends and her beliefs. Even if she had to correct someone, myself included, she would. She loved spending time with her friends, going out for coffee, talking, driving, and listening to music. This brought her much joy. Music helped bring her together with people. Lee also loved movies. She had a collection of VHS tapes that she played over and over. She would watch a 15-minute snippet of a movie, shut it off, and go about her day. Lee was a sensitive soul. She had an intuition about things in life. I think in some ways she had a subconscious knowledge of things to come. I based this on actions, conversations, and her artwork in the last year or so of her life. Her last painting was of a young woman in a long white gown with long black hair. She was walking up a dirt road with rocks and mud puddles along the sides of the road. She was walking towards a shimmering golden light, shining between the tall pine trees on either side of the road. This painting spoke to family and friends who viewed it after Lee's passing about our life journey here on Earth. I feel her presence often. When I am out and look down and find a heart-shaped rock in the yard or at the beach, I know it is her way of telling me she is all right and that she is still with us, watching over us. Thank you.
Here, a little girl who lost her mom, and we'd like to invite Angela to come and say a few words. She's able. She's not so little anymore. She's grown up to be a beautiful young woman.
Yeah.
This is about my mother, Jude Hall. When asked to speak today, I sat and I thought, how does one sit and write about a mother who's been absent for an entire decade? When she died, I was just entering young adulthood. At just 19 years of age, I was just starting to learn and appreciate who she was as a mom and a person. As most mothers of daughters are aware, 13 through 17-year-olds are on their own know-it-all paths and nothing you say gets through to them. And that was me, maybe even a bit more extreme. I only had less than 2 years to get to know and understand her as a mother and a friend, and I thank God every day for that. It was November 4th, year 2000. I was only 17. It was her 35th birthday. We were still in a pretty rocky relationship, but that day I needed my mom more than ever. I could barely get through the sobbing to say what I needed to say, and instead of wishing her a happy birthday, I had to tell her that my best friend committed morning, and it was that day that my mom became my best friend. Something happened in that moment, and our tumultuous past vanished and never resurfaced, and our bond as mother and daughter was indestructible. As the days led up to writing this, I came to a realization. When my mom passed, I didn't really know her. I mean, I knew she was a great person and a great mom. She supported decisions I made, even if they were wrong later in life. She threw a wedding for me at 19, which was really dumb. And even though she disagreed, she just wanted me to be happy. She was an amazing mother to my young brother and sister, attending all their sporting events, and just loved them so much. What I realized after writing 2 pages leading up to this very moment is that I have gotten to know my mother better in the last decade than I did in the 19 years of my life that I had her here. My mom lives in me with everything I do. Her voice follows me wherever I go. I have been forced to make many difficult decisions along the years as a mom, similar to what she had to make with me. She was only 17 when she had me, and although I was much older when I had my own child, I was faced with many difficulties and tough decisions to make as well. I have followed her good paths and her not so good paths, and many times found myself asking, what would my mom do? And the answer somehow always seemed to be right there. As much as I long for her to be here in a physical sense, I seek comfort knowing she can guide me in much more powerful ways now. I have gotten to know my mom through my own self. I am so much like her. From random bouts of silliness, busting out some silly dance moves or a song, or laughing for the sole purpose of laughing, all these things is what she was known for. Or having a total blonde moment, like the day she drove away from a gas pump with the gas pump still in the car, and thinking it was the funniest thing that ever happened, even though it was probably one of the most expensive things that could have happened in her life as well. That was my mom, and that's what she was known for, always seeing the good in everything. She was also known for trying hobby after hobby, always wanted to get her hands into something new. I'm the same way, always taking on some new idea or project. My favorite was when she discovered her newfound interest in gardening when she was severely allergic to flowers. She was a lover of free-spirited fun and always saw the good in people, and everyone loved her. It was when I was blessed with my own daughter that everything through my life as a child and a teen became crystal clear. I began to know and love and understand her better than ever. And every day that I am a mother, it all makes more perfect sense. Everything she did for me or against me, as I may have thought at the time, the rules, the punishments that made me tell her I hated her on numerous occasions, even though I never meant it, all those things were out of pure unconditional love, trying to move me into who I am today. My mom always knew what was best for her children, even though we may not have known it at the time. She strived to be the best mother she could be. She always put us first, because that is what a mother does, and that is who she was. Just that, a mother. In the last decade, my relationship with my mom has continued to grow, even without her here, and it took being asked to speak today to even realize this. In my own journey through motherhood, I've been able to understand who she was, and with my daughter just approaching 2 years of age, I will only get to know and understand my mother more and more. The definition of a mother is one who bears and births a child, but the true meaning of actually being a mother is much more. To be a mother is to love unconditionally, to make extraordinary sacrifices for the well-being of our children. It's being a friend, a cook, a chauffeur, a detective, a teacher, a housekeeper, and a nurturer, and I'm sure we could all add our own to the list as well. My mother was all of the above. She was the true epitome of a mother. I truly believe that once you become a mom, there's no harder job in life, and we can only try to be the best we can be, and we can only protect them so much. And as much as we want to hold their hands through this crazy thing we call life, we eventually have to let go. And although her job of being a mother was cut tragically short, I believe that when I walk hand in hand with my little girl, my mom is holding her other hand, because now she can be sure that no matter how young or old, her children and her grandbaby will never walk alone.
We thank you to all the parents and all the families that are here today, and I know you're all cold, and we appreciate you being here, but this is an important year for us. There are some friends here that are going to play for us a song called My Sacrifice. Over the last 10 years, this song has kind of become our anthem, and so I would like to welcome the members of Human Clay to sing this song for us and all of you, so you can hear what we have lived with, and we have loved them for supporting us over the last 10 years. They are going to need to, set up right up in front.